TYT Sports, JR and Jason talk some NBA. This usually this would fit for the chairs, but we're not lounging. If we're at the desk, it's serious. So no bullshit right now. Team USA basketball team. Oh, bullshit? How low you go?
All right.
I feel like, I'm going to be honest, if you went down even lower, I'd been like, look how fucking powerful and strong I look. Now, you put on a jacket, all of a sudden, you're towering over J.R. Jackson.
You can tell people what to do.
Picking fights with J.R. Jackson over here.
I'm sorry. We're back.
Apology accepted.
Thank you.
Team USA basketball is pretty good. Do you agree?
It's decent.
Yeah, it's decent.
So
There's room to
They
improve.
have always room for improvement.
Always. No, they're dominant. There's nobody that can ever beat them. But we want to have not really a debate, but more so what if the team world, if all the best players that were not on Team USA could play on a team, would it be competitive? How close would the game be? And we're going to have a lot of fun. You guys can have fun in the comment section below with who you think would make that team starting five for the world. Now, we did the Team Africa. They played a game in Africa, Team World versus Team USA. But they had, like, Chris Paul on Team World. It wasn't just, like, guys out of the U.S. that had to be there. So they mixed it up with Pop coaching Team World. And, yeah, it was awesome. That was in the offseason. But so let's start with Team USA. For the starting five that I have written down, it's Steph Curry at point guard. Technically, LeBron at shooting guard, even though like these next three guys are positionless. Kevin Durant. I originally had Blake. Kawhi Leonard should be in there, absolutely, because he's such a fucking good defender.
At the 3 or the 4?
At the 3.5.
Yeah.
All these guys are halves. LeBron's a 3.5. KD's a 3.5.
Well, yeah,
and then Anthony Davis at the center, the 5.
So is Tim washed up? Are we done with him?
That's what's amazing. Like, what's crazy about this, too, when you hear like the world roster, you can go, like, technically put fucking Tim Duncan and old man David West.
Am I right? The U.S. Virgin Islands for Tim Duncan?
Is that what he is?
I think so, right?
Oh, that's impressive.
He's still American.
That's impressive. We could take Tim. We might throw him on the world, though, to make it more even. And then for the world, at point guard, you can get a little more creative because you got to take the best from around the world. Like France and Spain and even Canada, they're getting some great development with their players. Goran Dragic or Tony Parker or Ricky Rubio at the 1. Andrew Wiggins at the 2. At small forward, you can really run Antetokounmpo. You can run Dirk Nowitzki. You can run Serge Ibaka. Power forward, you're going to Al Horford, people forget. Dominicana.
I always forget.
Yeah, the Dominican Republic. And at the 5, Marc Gasol. I think what would make this more interesting is if Dirk was in his prime and you had both Gasol brothers at their absolute peaks, it would be a little more competitive.
Well, I mean, even now, I still think Mark is pretty much near as far as we're talking about the Gasol. As I was talking about the Tim Duncan point, you could throw Paul Gasol in there too. If you have the couple of brother twin towers, they've been playing together their whole lives. That'd be a nice communication.
Right.
They could, play without even really thinking about. They know how each other plays.
And that's
that
why
would work for them.
You look at Spain with Rubio and Jose Calderon and Marc Gasol and Pau Gasol. It's like compared to the rest, it's like they're a good 2 who most of the rest of the world couldn't really compete. France does have Tony Parker. They also have Rudy Gobert, the Stifle Tower. Great nickname.
I didn't know that.
Such a great nickname. And he's like fifth. He's second in the league right now, or third in the league through 4 games and rebounding with like 14 boards, which is awesome. But it just shows how dominant the USA is. So that was my story. Is there anybody else in Team USA that you think you'd really want in either the starting 5 or a part of the team? Like, are you lean towards a guy like Carmelo or Kyrie?
Whenever you have guys like Kyrie, I mean, look, you put together anyone who gets close to championships. Westbrook was awesome.
Yeah.
When KD went down last season, he carried that team. No, they didn't get where they should have gotten, but for a guy like that to take over and do what he did with the injuries he did deal with, at one point I think he was even wearing a mask, as everyone apparently has to wear. And you know what? You guys hate me, but Derrick Rose is one of the best guards in the league.
Oh, you love Derrick Rose. You're a Derrick Rose apologist. That's okay. That's okay. Derrick Rose could be, if he can stay healthy and keep all of his limbs intact, one of the best guards in the league.
Well, and I think this would be the difference, as we're talking about the world versus the American team. Where they'd have the world would have some potential to crack in and be in the big positions, 4 to 5s. That's where they could work. From our guards to our forwards, you can't touch.
In the time of Yao Ming.
Yeah. I mean, you can't. Like the American guards to small forwards are pretty much unmatched.
Yeah,
that's where it would get taken over. I mean, if you got to name me some 1s and some 2s from the world that can do anything with the Chris Pauls of the world. And there's talking about Kyrie's. It's tough. There's too many of them. And you even mentioned Kawhi. He could play a little bit of 2 and 3.
I think Kawhi Leonard is one of the 5 best players in the NBA. And people can think I'm crazy. you got to watch this guy play defense. He shuts down the league's best shooters. Like, say what you will about Carmelo Anthony, right? As an overrated player, say what you will about him. He's still got one of the purest mid-range jump shots the game's ever seen, and Kawhi shut that down. And then he did the same thing earlier in this year. I mean, I'm already saying earlier. It's been 4 games. I know. Right. But earlier, to Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant, there's going to be excuses being pulled. Like, okay, Kevin Durant's a little bit, he was coming off an injury. No. Kawhi Leonard has just got those Rondo arms, the ones that hang like below your knees, and just the length and the wingspan to guard anybody in the NBA.
It's an underrated appreciation in the NBA is playing defense. I love it. Like, I was the type of basketball player that I want to guard the best offensive player because that's how you're going to win. That guy that I just saw score 12 of their 15 points, he's scoring 2.
Right.
And then you guys are going to lose.
That is going to be your job. Enough about Team USA. We know how good Team USA is, regardless of who you put there. But in terms of the world, really the purpose of the clip, the talking point is how close would this game be? Because we know the USA is going to win. But would it be competitive or would it be a blowout like they do when they play even guys like Spain, and they play France, and they play Germany? In Turkey, Edu Turgulu. You no Turgulu love? He's a Turks fan, by the way. He is a young Turks fan. Yeah, via bro tip, Hassan Piker. But so when you look at the world team, Goran Dragic, great pickup by Miami Heat last year. He already looks like he's having a good season this year. I like the guy. And Tony Parker's not that old. He's 33 comparatively to the rest of the team.
Right.
And Rubio may have found a jump shot. You saw in his first game of the season.
Yeah, and I think that's where the separation would exist. As I mentioned, the bigs versus the smalls. And I don't know if it'd be a blowout completely. Maybe start out when the big guys can still get big contributions. They're not getting beat down yet. They're not chasing these other American guards around. But, I'd say, let's do a prediction. Final score, 121-102. But the only thinking, as we continue to see more and more international players come in, the world's affected by this now international NBA league. How many years before they can actually do something, get closer to the 15 to 20 point span that I'm thinking Americans would win by? I give it a lot more time, man, because everyone's getting better. So it'll take a long time. 20?
There's an easy answer. It's never.
Never?
It's actually never. And here's the reason. Because for every guy that gets drafted into the NBA, like a Kristaps Porzingis, like an Emmanuel Mudiay, technically, I'm not sure if he was American born or not, but I know he played in China. And all and Mirotiches of the world. There's guys like D'Angelo Russell who get picked up, and guys like Julius Randle from the year before. I'm not trying to just stick to the Lakers here, but even guys like Stanley Johnson. So for every one of these great role players that gets picked up, there's going to, nothing against the rest of the world, but there's equal talented, if not more talented, American players getting picked up.
But I guess the thought being, we have this one country to work from, and
they have the world
to work from, and eventually it's got to catch up because there's a bigger pool of talent to choose from. So with that being said,
a short-sighted American, red-blooded, let's go Team USA.
You isolationist. So with that being said, I got to go with never.
Because that's the truth. Oh, it's the cold-hearted truth.
Argue about that down there, please.
Yeah, in the comments section below. That's where we want to see. First, there's a couple questions for you, though, right? Yeah, first, what is your world starting 5? I'm curious. When you say there's too many options. Nikola Mirotic, we haven't even mentioned. He should be in there, maybe. And what would the final score be if Team USA played Team World for like an actual prize, not an exhibition, like for the greatest team in basketball history?
And I'm sorry, and by the way, I did look this up. Tim Duncan is considered an international player.
Really?
What do you know? At least on this NBA.com.
Oh, well, dang. There's so many guys in the world.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't match up against Steph, LeBron, KD, Kawhi, and Davis. So there you have it. Don't forget to subscribe. Follow JR on Twitter at JR Jackson, myself at JasonRubin91. And of course, TYT Sports at TYT Sports. Like, favorite, subscribe. We'll see you next time.